Hey guys, welcome to your very own astrology channel. Today is a very special day. It's the 1st of Jan 2014 and we were at the threshold of going into 2014 and we are finally here. And so it's a very special day for all of us, and likely is the house that we are taking into consideration. That house is also considered one of the very special houses in Vedic astrology, because it's one of the Kendra houses and it's the fourth most powerful house in Vedic astrology. And for those of you who might have already guessed it, yes, we are talking about the fourth house in Vedic astrology. It's the fourth house in Vedic astrology, and it's also the fourth most powerful house in Vedic astrology after the first house, 10th house and 7th house. It's the fourth most powerful house. So before proceeding with the introduction regarding the fourth house episode, we again have to take into account the Vedic theory that we take into that I reiterate over and over whenever we take any house into consideration. So here we are going to study about the fourth house in Vedic astrology. So we'll begin the counting from the fifth house. And for those of you who are still new to this channel, I'll tell that Vedic theory again. Well, that Vedic theory says that if we take a particular house into consideration and we count 12 places from that house, 12 places from that house, I repeat, 12 places from that house, then the house that we reach to represents the qualities, attributes that are totally in non-compliance or that are totally contrary to the house from which we begin the counting. Or else you can put it like that, that the house that we reach to represents the qualities or attributes that are totally different from the house that we took into consideration. Because the house that we took into consideration, it's the similar house from which the counting begins. So here we are about to study about the fourth house in Vedic astrology. So we'll begin the counting from the fifth house. Correct. So this is the fifth house in Vedic astrology, as all of you can see it out here. So I start the counting from the fifth house itself. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Voila! We are at the fourth house in Vedic. We have reached the fourth house in Vedic astrology. So if we apply that Vedic theory rule over here, then according to that rule, fifth house represents the qualities that are totally in non-compliance to the qualities that are represented by the fourth house. Fourth house not equal to the fifth house not equal to the fourth house. You say it either way, it doesn't make any difference. So what was the fifth house in what does the fifth house in Vedic astrology actually represent? And for those of you who must have already seen my fifth house Vedic astrology episode, they might be well aware of that fact that fifth house is the house of the sun, that is the savior. Fifth house represents the people who are the center of attention wherever they go. They are in news for one reason or the other. They are very camera savvy people. They are the blessed ones in the society. They are the people who come to the rescue of others, since they are blessed with that kingly aura. They are like that ball of heat enhancing its glory in the sky as sun is, and all the other planets revolve around that fatherly figure called sun. Likely the fifth house individuals are blessed with the finest blend of qualities like intelligence, wisdom, persona, luck and power. Of course, now each one of us has those qualities. Out of those 5 qualities that are required to be the king, we might be having 2, I might be having 3, you might be having 4. But having all those 5 qualities, a perfect blend of all those 5 qualities, is what that makes what a king should be like. So these people, since they are blessed with all these 5 qualities and they are charismatic, magnetic, dynamic in nature, people go up to these fifth house individuals in order to seek advice, in order to seek help, or in order to seek any kind of a wisdom whenever they are stuck in some kind of a problem. Since they know that this fifth house individual is much more learned, is much more wise, is much more powerful. Either it could be the physical power, or it could be the power of influencing the decisions, since the fifth house person might be blessed with money, so he can help the person who comes to him because he's financially very rich, or he can help the person who comes up to him since he has that social status or the fanfare following, that he can influence the mindsets of the people. Or is he a political figure who can actually help bring a law into promulgation, or influence the decision that might save the lives of thousands of individuals that are working under him. So the fifth house individuals likely represents, as I told in that episodes, they represents the posts like the prime ministers, presidents, the members of the minority groups, and anybody who leads a group of people. It could be the CEOs, CFOs, CXOs, and the big shot figures of the companies, the people associated with cinema who have a huge fanfare following. So these are the kind of fifth house people. Now, the Vedic theory states that the fourth house individuals or the fourth house things are totally contrary to that of the fifth house. And this is what our sole purpose is, that since we are studying about the fourth house in Vedic astrology today. So fourth house individuals, unlike the fifth house individuals, they are very introvert, they are very shy, unlike the charismatic, dynamic and the extrovert fifth house people. Fourth house people, rather than being charismatic, dynamic, magnetic like the sun, they are very kind of shy, introvert, romantic, pragmatic, enigmatic. They are kind of very sensitive in nature, and unlike the fifth house people who come to the rescue of others, these fourth house individuals, instead of coming to the rescue of others, these are the people who seek the emotional nourishment from the other people, who seek the physical help, financial help, or primarily the emotional nourishment from the other people. And these are the individuals who, unlike sun, who always want to be in front of that camera, who always want to be the center of attention in that party or anywhere that he goes. These fourth house individuals they just keep it to themselves. They don't want to come in front of the camera. They don't want to get recognized. I mean, the attitude of those fourth house people is like that. Fine enough. Even if I'm blessed with good qualities, I'll rather be a member of the cattle class. I just cannot digest that fanfare and that glory. It's very hard for me to take all those fanfare and following. That's simply not my style. So these people like to spend time in closed settings. By closed settings, it could mean that these people spend most of their time by themselves. That is when they are lonely, in the comfortable and the luxurious settings. I forgot to tell you that these fourth house people, they are very attached to the luxuries and the conveniences of life. They are not that individuals who can just step out of their house and work day in and day out. They are all about the luxuries and comforts of life, that they are seeking that they somehow they are into a setting wherein they have people, or they have been blessed with an environment which is comfortable to their souls. So either they are spending most of their time in loneliness, in any kind of a spiritual setting, or in any kind of a setting where they can be by themselves. They hang out within a group of people, within a small group of people who they know that who they actually know that those people, those chosen few people they are hanging out with, would not ditch them, would not emotionally hurt them, would not ditch them for any reason. So these are the kind of the fourth house individuals. And if you have a planet, since these fourth house individuals are very emotional, sensitive, nurturing, not only do they seek emotional nourishment from others, when they get those emotional nourishment, they in turn reciprocate that emotional love towards others. So basically they are very childlike personalities. So if I were to envision that what this fourth house person would be like, or if I were to give a practical example, then let's suppose if there is a high profile party happening in a one of the most happening and one of the most what do I say, one of the most peppy and vivacious discotheques out there, then this might be a small innocent child, or a very suave and sophisticated lady, you know, putting up in a one corner of that pub. She's not interacting with somebody. Although she looks brilliant, she is intelligent, but she isn't interacting with anybody. She's just away from the glamour and from the glitterati. She doesn't want to come in the eyes of the paparazzi and something like that. So these are the kind of fourth house individuals. And this house represents, most of all, this house represents her mother. And the reason for why I am vouching for this is because all those attributes that I told you just now, that they seek emotional nourishment, they give emotional nourishment, they are shy, they are they have kind of a feminine aura, they are soft, sophisticated, romantic, enigmatic, pragmatic in nature, and all those attributes are associated with the traditional mom. And you know I like to quote one more example in order to describe how these fourth house individuals differ so differ in such a big way from those fifth house individuals. Let's suppose this fourth house individual were to go on a date with a girl, then this fourth house with a girl, or it's the girl going out with a boy, then this person would be like, hey, why don't we go out to that mountain out there? Why don't we spend some time along the riverside? Instead, the fifth house person would be like, hey, why don't we go to that nearby pub? Why don't we go out there and dance? Or why don't you join? He might call his girl, and they might go along in a circle, in a 10-20 friends going together, and it's very hard for this. It's very easy for this fifth house individual to mingle with people, wherein there are a lot of people. There's a huge gathering, while the fourth house people, they are able to connect with the other individuals only when they are alone, when they are in some kind of a spiritual setting, some kind of a emotional setting, some kind of a very mysterious and a Masonic settings. And if somebody has this the planet Venus placed in the fourth house, then you should consider yourself damn lucky when it comes to love affairs. Trust me, guys. Since Venus is the significator of love, romance, it even signifies the wife in a man's chart, and in a women's chart, it's the two planets that control the man in the women's chart. It's Jupiter and Venus, but Venus controls the partners in both the man's and in the women's chart. So if somebody has his planet Venus placed in this particular fourth house, then he is going to get a girl or a partner who would love him to death. He would emotionally nourish this person like a mom does. I mean, you know what the attitude of a mom is, that if my son is suffering, if my girl is suffering, and she needs a liver transplant, you better take my liver, but do anything and do it as fast as possible and restore her back to health. Let me die, but I cannot see my child in pain. And similar would be the attitude of the people, of the partners that you will be attracting, and how divine a relationship would that be. And guys, like I told you, that sun is that dazzling ball of heat up there in the sky, that the people are normally attracted towards this towards this dazzling light, and they are so allured towards this light of the sun that they naturally follow it. But the similar kind of, does it mean that since the fourth house is not equal to the fifth house, does that mean that here the fame of the fanfare following is missing? No. In fact, fourth house is one of the prime houses that is taken into consideration in order to see that how much amount of fame would you be enjoying in your life. But fourth house fame is a very different kind of a fame as compared to that fifth house fame of that sun. The fifth house fame is all about that being in front of the camera, being popular with the people who work under you, being there, being captured by the paparazzi. You are in the news or in the newspaper columns for some reason or the other. But this fourth house is the original house of the moon, and moon shines not in the daytime but at the night time. That is the night time when the setting is very mysterious, when the setting is very divine, when most of the people are into their homes. So people don't love this moon, don't love this fourth house individuals like they love the sun. But that is sun is loved for the dynamic qualities that it possesses. Instead, these fourth house individuals that are ruled by moon, they are actually loved by people for their innocence, for their naiveness, for their romantic nature, for their ability to study the human emotions at the in-depth level, for the emotional nourishment that they give out to others. So this is fourth house people also enjoy a lot of fame, like the fifth house people do. And one more thing about the fourth house is that what makes fourth house so special is that fourth house represents, it's the house that represents the conveniences, the luxuries, and the comforts of life. Like I told in the third house episode, that fourth house in our chart determines that what amount of conveniency are we actually blessed with in our life. And now it could be the conveniency of anything. It could be conveniency of having a home. That's why fourth house represents the physical structure that a home we are living in. It could be the conveniency of having a rooftop over your head. It could be the conveniency of having a mother who showers onto you the most purest, divine, the most esoteric, the most mysterious love in the world. It could be since the fourth house also represents the parents of the family. So it could be the convenience that no matter what happens with you, whether you are going through a black phase of your life or whether you're going through a purple patch in your life, but you know that when you step into your house, you are actually bumping into a group of individuals. You are meeting your family who would not judge you based on your achievements. Rather, they love you for what you actually are. And this is the one of the most convenient things, right? And it could be the conveniency of laying in the mom's lap, having her emotional nourishment and some support behind you. It could be the convenience of traveling by a two-wheeler rather than traveling bare feet to office. It could be the conveniency of traveling by a four-wheeler rather than a two-wheeler. It could be conveniency of traveling by an aircraft rather than a ship while you go out to some kind of a foreign country. It could be the conveniency of having those air-conditioned room or the fan in your room. So basically, it could be the convenience of anything that is represented by the fourth house in Vedic astrology. And how well your fourth house placed is decides that what amount of the convenience, the comforts, and the luxuries are you blessed with. To what degree are you blessed with the comforts and the luxuries in life is all decided by the dignity of the fourth house in your horoscope. So now that we have actually completed the introduction of the fourth house, let's move on to the second point. If you can read it out here, it says relationship with your mother parents. As I told you, that fourth house is the house that represents your mother, your parents, your family. So it is the fourth house that decides that what kind of a relationship do you share with your mother or with your family members. So it is through when we actually scrutinize that how well that the fourth house is placed in a horoscope. From that we can actually make out that how good or bad your relationship with your mother is. Now if let's suppose actually when it comes to deciphering that how well the fourth house is placed in your horoscope, a lot of things goes into it. First of all, you have to judge that whether fourth house is occupied by benefics or the malefics, whether it is occupied by the functional malefics or the functional benefics, whether it is receiving aspects from the benefics or the malefics. How well is the lord of the fourth house placed? I told you about how do we scrutinize that how well or bad a house is placed in a horoscope in those basic of astrology episodes. So for those of you who haven't watched those episodes not up till now, then after watching this fourth house episode, they can just watch the basic of astrology series that I have uploaded. So when we study how that what's the dignity of the fourth house in a horoscope, it tells about a relationship with the mother. So if we have the benefics, that is the beneficial planets like Moon, Venus or Jupiter, if you have any three of these planets, or if you have two of these planets, or if you have all three of these planets, or even a single of these planets placed in your fourth house, then it is indicative of the fact that yours is a very good relationship with the mother, wherein she showers onto you the purest and the divine love in the world, and you are also very emotionally inclined towards your family. You and your family are there for each other in your tough times. You stand by each other like a rock, like a pillar of strength, in order to come out of that problem that you or your family have got stuck in. Now you might be wondering that this person is saying that if you have Moon, Venus or Jupiter, or Moon, Venus or Jupiter, Venus, or all these of three in my fourth house, then I might be blessed with a wonderful mother and with a wonderful family. But I have these planets, but nothing of that sort is there in my life. I mean, I am not blessed with that good appearance. Well, that's because of the fact that you got to take a lot more things into consideration when it comes to deciphering out that how good or bad a particular house is placed in your horoscope. You cannot make a single prediction just by looking at how a single planet is placed in your fourth house. There are a lot of other things that go out to decipher that how well the fourth house is placed in a horoscope. Only then you can make a perfect judgment. Let's suppose, what if you have the planets like Moon, Venus or Jupiter placed in the fourth house of yours, but the lord of the fourth house, that is the planet which owns the lordship of the fourth house, is delegated or is placed in a bad house, then obviously what could have turned out to be one of the most purest and divine relationship with the parents, with the mother and the family, could turn out to be just an average or a below average relationship with those people. And what if now you might be saying that not only I have Moon, Jupiter or Venus in my fourth house, I have even the lord of that is the planet who owns the lordship of the fourth house, that is also placed in a wonderful house and it is exalted. Then why am I not blessed with one of the best parents as this guy is vouching for? Well, it could be the fact that your fourth house might be getting aspects, might be receiving aspects from the malefics like Rahu, Ketu, Mars, Saturn. So all those things are to be taken into consideration before making a final judgment, before deciding that what kind of a relationship you have with your family. But if the fourth house of yours is badly placed, then it is for sure that there would be some amount of problem within the family. You would be emotionally dissatisfied with each other. You would run into the regular bickering sessions with your mom. You or your mom might be nagging at each other, or you or your family members, you might be blaming each other for the shit you are stuck in, or for the bad state of your of your current life. So that kind of events are seen if the fourth house is not well placed in an individual's chart. So guys, if your fourth house is well placed in your horoscope, then quite likely are the chances that you might possess a house of your own. You may have all the luxuries and the comforts of life at your disposal. Be the servants who are around you, who would take care that you don't have to step out of your comfort zone and move to the kitchen. They would make sure that they would bring to you all the palatable dishes while you are relaxing on that couch of yours or that sofa seat. It could be the convenience of you might be blessed with one of the most luxurious cars or motorbikes, since this is the house that controls the vehicles also. Or it could be the convenience of owning the land and property. If your fourth house is very well placed, then quite favorable are the chances that you might yourself invest into the land and property, and that the price of the land and property might flourish, or you might inherit that land and property from your parents. And since you are very aware of the way the property industry works, so it kind of makes sure that you have assets by your side, that you are not in a haste that what if my profession doesn't take off that quickly, or what should I do? I mean, shall I work my ass off in order to make a living? You don't have to worry about all those things, since you have enough amount of assets by your side that you can sell off at any moment, and and that can make your life easy. But if your fourth house is not well placed, then obviously there are strong chances that you might not possess a house of your own. You may live in a rented house, or your luck when it comes to the land and property things might be actually doomed. And it's my personal advice to those individuals whose fourth house, if your fourth house in your horoscope is not well placed, then please don't invest your money in land and property. Ultimately, all your money you put in that land and property isn't going to flourish, and it's all gonna go in vain. So please don't invest in land and property for those of you who have their fourth house in their horoscope in a bad dignity. And now one more thing about the fourth house, that fourth house, since it is the house of mother and emotions, so any planet that is placed in that in the fourth house of your horoscope shows that which all things in your life are you very emotionally attached to. So if Mercury, let's suppose if Mercury is placed in your fourth house, then what does Mercury represent? Mercury represents our friends, our fellow acquaintances, our brothers and sisters. Then it is indicative of the fact that your fellow acquaintances, your colleagues, your brothers and sisters, they might be very emotionally attached to you, or you might be very emotionally attached to them. If there is a planet like Venus, then you will attract partners that will be very emotionally attached to you, and strong are the chances that you will be emotionally attached to them in turn also. What if you have a planet like Saturn in the fourth house? Then what is Saturn? Saturn is the karaka, or the significator of profession. So it could indicate that you are very emotionally attached towards your work. Your office or your working place is no longer remains a working place for you. In fact, it becomes a temple or a place of worship for you. Your working place literally becomes a second home to you. That you just don't feel like that you are at a place that is not as comfortable as your home is. Literally, if you have Saturn in there in the fourth house, then for these people, their office becomes literally their home, and they are so emotionally attached to it. Okay, now that we have completed the second point, let's move on to the third point. Okay, we have the secrets in the third point, and I have the tendency that I'll be churning out these secrets to you people only at the very end. Otherwise, you might, since the length of the video is already stressed so far, then you might actually move away. But if I were to deal with the secrets, if I reveal them a little later, then you might probably hooked on to this video. So I'll rather take up the fourth point first. So irrespective of the fact that whether you are living in a rented house, whether you are your fourth house is in good dignity or is in bad dignity, or you are possessed with that house with that BMWs or those array of servants in your home, irrespective of all those things, the fourth house in your horoscope can actually indicate that if you were to build your house for someone or for yourself, then what would be your vision of what a perfect home, of what a what a particular home should be like. So if you have a planet like Saturn in the fourth house, you know what your vision would be of a home would be like. You would be like, since Saturn is a planet of structure, organization, discipline, so your vision of a home would be like that it should be built on a very strong foundation. It should be built on an ultra strong foundation, and you would not care about how beautiful it looks from inside, how you would care less for the interior decoration of the house, but you would not compromise on the quality of the building material, on the quality of the bricks, mortar, etc., whatever building material goes into the construction of the house, because you want to make sure that if tomorrow you are away from your house and there's a vehement, violent storm or a flood in the city, then you have constructed such a such a remarkable and such a gigantic house that is built on such a strong foundation that it's ultimately going to keep the members in your household safe, who you are emotionally attached to. But if you have a planet like Moon or Venus, then you'd be one of those individuals for sure who might actually not care about whether your house is built on a strong foundation or not, but you might be very savvy, very finicky about how it looks from inside. So you might be all into those interior decoration kind of a thing. You might get pleasure by decorating your house with the sceneries, with the portraits, with the beautiful lampposts, with any of the modern day embellishments. Or if you have let's suppose the planets that have to do with spirituality, if you have the planets like Jupiter or the planet like even Ketu in the fourth house, then what the scene could be like. In that case, if you have the planets Jupiter or Ketu in the fourth house, then you would not care for the fact that whether it is built on a strong foundation or not. Neither you will care for the fact that your house, how good or how beautiful your house looks from inside. You won't care about that modern embellishments also, but your vision of that house is like that it should be it should be kind of a spiritual sanctuary. It should be your house should be like a temple, like a place of worship. So you might instead of those portraits and the sceneries and the beautiful and the colorful wallpapers, you might actually decorate your home with the statues or with the portraits of Lord Rama, Christ, Lord Buddha, whosoever you feel attached to. You might even put the statues or the portraits of the philosophical figures, Rabindranath Tagore, Karl Marx, or Swami Vivekananda, or you might actually decorate your house with the good luck stones, with the Chinese feng shui kind of a things, chimes, those laughing Buddha statues and all. So this all is deciphered by looking at the fourth house of your horoscope. And guys, in addition to what I told you just now, you must have actually regularly come across people who put up in the houses where even a stranger is welcomed with such warmth and grace, these are these they live in the kind of house where the parties are regularly thrown in, where somebody or the other is coming and going. It's a very happy-go-lucky kind of atmosphere in the house. And at the same time, you must have actually come across some individuals who are very protective. They are very close guarded as to who they let into their house and who they not. And especially this is the case this is the case with the Cancerian. So if you have a Cancerian moon sign, or if you are a Cancer ascendant, or if you have moon in your 4th house, then these people are very close guarded. These people are very protective of who they actually let into their house and who they don't. While you might be finding it one of the most bizarre and kind of one of the most eccentric behaviors you might have ever encountered, that why is this guy, I am his best friend, and why isn't he allowing me into his house? Why is he so close guarded? And am I a criminal or what? Am I going to go there, rape somebody, or am I in that pitiful a state that I'll evade with all the money in his house? Well, you just got to understand the fact that this guy is close guarded, and he is priggish about who he lets into his house and who he not. It's his concern for the family members. That is, he wants to make sure that until and unless he is very sure of the fact that the guy or the girl he is letting into his house would not emotionally or physically or in any manner hurt the sentiments of the people who are living inside that house, he won't let that person inside that house. And although I won't say that's a good attitude or not, but this is it. We live in a kind of a world that's beyond our comprehension. Each individual is different, and that's what makes the world special. So you have to respect this attitude of this person also. So guys, now that we have completed the 4th point with regards to the 3rd house astrology episode, it's time we get back to the secrets that can be deciphered out from the 4th house. And as I promised that I'll be churning them out to you people after I cover that 4th point, so here it is. Actually, there are 3 or 4 secrets that can actually be deciphered out from the 4th house in a horoscope, and I wanted to discuss all of the secrets in this very episode itself. But if I go on doing that, and if I tell you all those things, I'll be stretching this video. The length of this video would be probably more than 1 hour, and this is something that the other people, at least majority of the chunk of people might find it difficult to digest in a single episode. So I'm kind of leaving those secrets, and I'll be covering those secrets in the 4th house astrology episode part 2, along with what Saturn and Mercury do in the 4th house, and the professions regarding the 4th house, and the body parts and the diseases that can be seen from the 4th house. So all those things I'll be covering in the 4th house astrology episode part 2. But like I promised you, and I'll stick to it, and I'll reveal it to you, the most important and the prime secret that can actually be deciphered from the 4th house that probably nobody can tell you. And the secret is like that: most of the astrologers see crime from the other houses, but what they forget is that a crime as severe as child abuse can be seen from the 4th house in an individual's chart. And the reason for that is, as I told you before in the episode, that the people who have their 4th house in bad dignity, these people get into the regular bickering sessions with their parents, or their parents nag at them, or there is a very chaotic atmosphere in the family. So much so that these guys, this guy and the family, they are at daggers with each other, and they crib over the small issues. They just fight over those trivial and the flimsy issues that need not even need some sort of an addressal, but they end up making up a mountain out of a mole out of these issues, since their 4th house is very badly placed. And if you have a planet like Mars in the 4th house, now this kind of although their even if there is a planet like Saturn, Ketu, Rahu, of course there will be trouble with regards to the fourth house things. But especially if there is a planet like Mars placed in the fourth house, then what we can see is that that a person can be verbally abused by his parents, by his mother, or the motherly figure, or the or the some sort of a parental figure, that is an uncle, aunt, or something like that. He can be a victim of verbal abuse in his childhood, because what is Mars? Mars is a planet of aggression. Mars is a planet of willpower, courage. That's that soldier mentality that doesn't think and he just believes in chopping off the head of the enemy. And Mars performs best when it is in the 10th house. And opposite the 10th house, exactly opposite from the 10th house, is the 4th house. So Mars performs the least best over here, or I shall say the Mars performs the worst over here. So the presence of a soldier-like mentality, the presence of a abusive soldier in the house of the nurturing, the caring, the pragmatic, the enigmatic, the very soft and sophisticated mom can create a tension in your life, so much so that it can lead to verbal abuse. And let's suppose Mars is placed in the 4th house in an individual's horoscope, and it is receiving aspects from malefics like Saturn or Rahu or Ketu, or if the lord of the 4th house is also it's debilitated, or the lord of the 4th house is also placed in a bad house like the 8th house, then there are strong chances that not only can the person be verbally abused, but it can actually show that that person can be physically harmed by his parents, or by some kind of a parental figure in there. And you must have regularly come across stories in the TV, in the newspapers, in the magazines. You must have read about parents who force their child to beg. They force their child into prostitution, or any of the defamed professions like that, or they themselves are the part of, or their parents themselves are the part of their human trafficking cells. So things like that are seen if Mars is present in the 4th house, and the dignity of the 4th house is very bad. But is it for sure that if Mars is placed in the 4th house, then you gonna be then you for sure were a victim of child abuse? No, absolutely not. As I told you that you cannot make a single prediction just by looking at a single planet. You cannot make an accurate prediction just by looking at a single planetary placement. What if that Mars is receiving aspect from benefics like Jupiter? What if, although the Mars is present, but the lord of that house is exalted or is placed in a good house like the 9th house or the 5th house or the 7th house or the 1st house, then the things gonna be changed, and the severity of that verbal abuse or the severity of those fights is automatically gonna come down, and it could even be a channelized aggression. Let's suppose if Mars is placed in the 4th house but it is exalted, that is Mars placed in the 4th house but in a sign of Capricorn, then although it shows some kind of a aggression in the house, but it will be a very channelized aggression. So it could show a very aggressive parents who motivate their child to become as active and as aggressive as they are. So it could show a mom who might be a sports person. Sports person are represented by Mars, so it could represent a mom with a channelized aggression, and she uses that channelized aggression to push her child, so that that child leaves no stone unturned in whatever sports he or she takes up. This mom or this family of this child would make sure that they use their aggression in a very channelized way in order to motivate and spur and instill in their child the sportsmanship spirit, and they might be out there in the ground with their child day in and day out, because they want him to reach the pinnacle of success in that in whatever sports he takes it up. So this is the way the astrology should be studied like, and no planetary placement, see, every planetary placement comes, when I say that Moon, Venus or Jupiter does well in the fourth house, does it mean that uh, they aren't any bad things happening if Moon, Venus or Jupiter are in the fourth house? No, of course not. Every planet brings in a set of energies, and wherever there is energies, there isn't any energy that is totally positive in nature. Some sort of negativity is only there. And even if you are having a bad planetary placement, then if you know the real nuances of Vedic astrology, then you can pick up that 5% of that positive energy and neglect that 95% of that negative energy that a single planetary placement is bringing in your horoscope. So if you, even if you have a delineated Mars and you have a verbally abusive parents, you could you could take it as in the form of a channelized aggression. You could avoid going into the nagging session. So whenever you feel that your parents are creating some sort of a tension in your life, you just go out in the park, go out to the gym, and just throw in your negative energies that you have picked up at home there, and finally you will find yourself at the pinnacle of that sports arena. So guys, this was it for the fourth house astrology episode part 1. Till then, goodbye. Do subscribe to my channel if you like my videos. I'll soon upload the fourth house astrology video part 2. So that's your host RISHU signing off. Take care. Love you guys.